I'm Alexa.
I'm Rachel K. I'm Sjnhs.
I'm GRACIE.
I'm Richelle.
I'm Marjorie.
I'm GM.
And we are here to discuss the function of education
And its importance.
In understanding culture, society, and politics.
After going through this module, you are expected to define the meaning of education and its function in the society.
Explain the type of system of education in developing context.
Determine the similarities and differences of formal and non-formal education.
Value the function and significance of education in providing productive netizens based on the existing provision of the laws.
Are you ready to learn with us? Let's go!
Are you all guys ready to listen? If yes, then let's define first the meaning of education. What is the meaning of education? Education is the act or process of imparting or acquiring general knowledge, developing the powers of reasoning and judgment, and generally of preparing oneself or other intellectually for mature life. Take note, education as a social institution has a different meaning. Dr. William Little held that education is a social institution through which as society children are taught basic academic knowledge, learning skills, and cultural norms.
Did you know the word education is derived from the Latin word educare, which means to train, to rear, or bring up a child? Hence it plays a significant role in transferring culture and social norms among members of society in the process of training and various modalities of educating. It enables individuals to flourish their personality to withstand the culture and social system. Alvin Telfer, an American writer and futurist, is popularly quoted for having said, "The literate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who can learn and relearn." This marks the highlights of extensive journey that occurs in the field of education.
Now, I am going to discuss the system of education in the Philippines. There are two types of education in the Philippines, namely the formal and non-formal education. The formal education. This refers to the standardized method of hierarchically structured and progressive schooling that corresponds to the general notion of elementary and secondary and tertiary level of education. Yet, only the primary and secondary level is compulsory to the students. In the education system of the Philippines, the elementary and secondary level is administrated and supervised by the Department of Education. Elementary level is composed of kindergarten and 6 years of primary education, whereas the secondary contains 4 years of junior high school and 2 years of senior high school. Furthermore, the tertiary level is administered and supervised by the Commission on Higher Education. The actual years spent in this level depends on the curriculum of each course. So basically, the formal education requires level-by-level learning where learners are also required to go to school. Nonetheless, the formal education provides you with degrees and certificates that will help you verify your achievements. Now, let's move on to the non-formal education. This refers to an educational activity carried outside the structure of a formal education. According to UNESCO, non-formal education can cover programs contributing to adult and youth literacy and education for out-of-school children, as well as programs on life skills, work skills, and social or cultural development. This type of education is basically flexible, learner-centered, contextualized, and requires learners to participate in every activity. One example is the Alternative Learning System or ALS, overseen by the Department of Education. The difference of formal and non-formal education. The formal education, it is structured and progressive schooling, compulsory elementary, subject-oriented, and done in classroom setting. It is also uniformity and organized. While the non-formal education is life skills, work skills, socio-cultural, flexible, and done in outside the classroom setting. It is adult learner and out-of-school learners. The similarities of formal and non-formal education are they are both an avenue where people acquire the knowledge needed in dealing with the demands in daily living. They also both impart knowledge and skill to the learner. They both also lead to a change in the attitude and behavior of the learner.
Thank you, Gracie. Now let's come into the function of education and its importance. Whether formal or non-formal, education addresses various needs of this society. Education also provides a productive citizenry and makes the self-actualization possible. Productive citizens are necessary for the improvement of the community. However, self-actualization refers to the desire for self-fulfillment or the tendency of human to become actualized in what he is potentially. Again, education takes a vital part to achieve the self-actualization. Education has different functions, namely socialization, transmission of culture, social integration, social placement, and social or cultural innovation and preservation.
Let's start with the first function. The first function is socialization. Socialization is an essential ingredient in creating a society. Since school is an agent of socialization, thus education helps transform human and becoming literate and recognized in function in the society. Transmission of culture. Transmission of culture through socialization in school, teachers and learners, learner to learner, the transmission of culture through education, human learn the values, beliefs, and social norms of their culture.
And now, let's move on to social integration. As the saying goes, nations are built because of education. This is because education portrays an important role to individuals by teaching the common values and social norms.
Last but not the least, the social placement. Education provides a social placement for everyone. It prepares us for the later station of our lives and to buy the necessities of life. Nonetheless, it is not a secret that education can change one's mind. Having education is an area helps people think, feel, and behave in a way that contribute to their success and improves not only their personal satisfaction but also their community.
And now we're talking about education as a human right. According to Article 26, number 1, everyone has the right to education. Education shall be free at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. Elementary education shall be compulsory. technical and professional education shall be made generally available, and higher education shall be equally accessible to all the basis of merit. Wherein, in number 2, education shall be directed to the full development of human personality and to the strengthening of respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. It shall promote understanding, tolerance, and friendship among all nations, racial or religious groups, and shall further the activities of United Nations for the maintenance of peace. Number 3, parents have a prior right to choose the kind of education that shall be given to their children. Hello everyone! Sa puntong ito, may makakausap tayo na nagmula sa NWSSU, second year college, at kumuha ng kurso ng Bachelor of Elementary Education, at siya ay si Arlito Kahubang.
Student of Sjnhs National High School. I am Arlito Kahubang. Based on Miss Rachelle Cedron introductory part. So I am elementary future elementary educator. So I am sick and current second year student with WCSU. So be with us.
So, question number 1. As a future teacher, how education becomes important each one of us?
Okay, so I know that this question is very common, but I know that education is very important to us, especially for those students or for those children who's not able to come to school, because we all know that education is the way to reach our goal in life, in order for us to be successful in the near future. So for me, education is has a big role in our life in order to us to be a successful a person, not only to be success, but also because this is what you call this, the legacy that came from our family, which is can't still get from us.
Second question, which type of education you are in, the formal or the non-formal, and why?
Okay, for me, I know that we are living in summer, which is education is sometimes we can consider that education is very important, because some of our students believe that even they did not go to school or to educate themselves, they believe that others on the different type of work that they can go or they can get even they are not finished in college. So maybe I belong to informal education.
Third question, how will you state education as a human right?
So education, I know that education is very important to us, and this is also one part of a human right, which is sometimes we tolerate, because education that if we consider the education, this is our right, this is our decision if we're going to choose to be an educator someday. So I think this is the very common right, so we have to follow. It's up to you if you want to follow this right.
Fourth question, what do you think the purpose of education in the Philippines?
Okay, I know that you are aware already, like what I said earlier, that education is very important. Not only here in the Philippines, to be specific, but since Ms. Rachel said that how an education important here in the Philippines, I know that education is a very important. Why? Because this is the one way that can help to reach our goal or an ambition in order to us to have a better life in the future. That's it.
Last question, how can you say to those students that education is very important, especially in our society?
Okay. My dear students, my dear Filipino citizens who live in the Philippines. Again, the question is?
How can you say to those students that education is very important, especially in our society?
Okay. We can deny the fact that education is very important in our society. Not only in the society, but in the whole of the world. Because you know what? First, education is the way on how to communicate to others. Because if you did not have a proper education, maybe there's a time that sometimes there's a foreigner, like for example, came in our Philippines, then how can you communicate to that person if you don't have enough education? So I know that education is a very important. Not only it's because we want to have a better work or better future. It's a very important also because we want to communicate to the other person, because I know that education is the first thing that we need in order to us to have a better to be a better communicator, especially for me that I am a future educator. So maybe I think in order for me to be a future educator, I need to finish my college. So that is the one thing that very important why education is initiated to take for every student. So for me, this is not the right time to say that. Sometimes we can avoid that somebody says that I maybe education is not really important, but they are wrong. Education, like what I said, education is the way in order to us to reach our ambition in life and also to have a better future again and again. This is for this is not for me as a future educator. I know that someday, or I think next year, some of you taking up same course. So in order for you to reach your or to get your course that you want to be, or like for example, if you want to be a teacher, first you need to be like what is this? Maging masipag. You need to, like for example, maging masipag and also to be self reliance para naman for example, makuha mo kung ano yung mga gusto mo. So, that's it.
Yun lang po. Maraming salamat,
Okay.
Kuya Arleto. Thank you for having this interview.
Okay, you're welcome. Then also, thank you for giving me an opportunity to discuss some of those students in Sonora National High School about the importance of education. I knew that I did not reach your expectation, but the most important things is I explained what my sides regarding education. But I know that someday, this is like what I said. This is not the end of the world. Just continue reaching our goal. I know that some of us sinasabing so kana. This is not the end. Just continue living and continue reaching our goal in life. As long as you're happy what you're doing, then with yourself, yun lang. Kasi, like for example, an educator, this is not a very task because you are facing a different type of students. Sometimes, we can't avoid na, like for example, a student, makaharap mo na ang hirap mag-isama. Especially in my time that I am dealing with demonstration. I am dealing with making a lesson plan. So this is a time that, and also we having a face-to-face demonstration. So I know what's the feeling of being an educator. So hope you choose your right course, then, and also you pass your entrance exam. That is the first thing that you need to accomplish the exam in order for you to choose the course that you want. Like for example, this course that I'm taking up, the Bachelor of Elementary Education. So that's it. Thank you also for having me here. Thank you and good luck for your next step in college next year. Then that's it. Thank you and good day.
And now, that's all for today. Again, I'm Alexa.
And I'm Rachelle K.
And I'm Sjnhs. I'm GRACIE.
I'm Richelle.
I'm Marjorie.
I'm Sjnhs.